This is a Misfit Nation production.
You want to be a friend of the cartel?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the most dangerous podcast in sports entertainment with your host, Krishan the Don. This is the Kayfabe Kartel.
You're staying. You belong to the cartel now.
Kayfabe Kartel. Yeah. Kayfabe Kartel. Kayfabe Kartel.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am here. This is the most dangerous podcast in sports entertainment. I am America's most dangerous host, Krishan the Don. This is the Kayfabe Kartel. Hello, everybody. Good evening. I am here to talk about our favorite art, our lucha art, our favorite American TV show that is professional wrestling. Hope everybody had a good actually past couple weeks I haven't been on. I actually went to Raw last week. I'll start with a little review of my experience at WWE Raw before I get into this week. Yes, I'm a South Floridian. Excuse me. I won't go over the match, the whole card or anything like that. I'll just tell you, share my little experience. Now I've been to WWE events before. I always tell people, even if you're not a wrestling fan, you got to go to a WWE event at some point in your life just to see the whole thing, the production of it, the live. I mean, it's really interesting because you're watching a live show that's for the live audience, but you're also watching a TV show being recorded or being broadcasted. So you get to see all the, the little secret things that you don't like. For instance, in the main event, I believe it was Randy Orton versus Kaiser. Gunther made a little run-in, but you see when you're there in the live crowd, because where we were sitting, we were literally like right the aisle that he runs down. We were like the tunnel that he came out of. We were sitting like right next to it, so he ran right past us. But you see that they set that up like 20, 30 minutes in advance. They clear the aisle. They make sure nobody's there. They make sure nobody's fucking cases, production cases or anything are in the aisle. They make sure that he can just fucking bolt out there. So it's pretty interesting. I know that probably doesn't sound interesting, me explaining it, but it's pretty cool because you see I guess experienced people who've gone to WWE events. We all knew, okay, somebody's going to come running out. We put 2 and 2 together pretty quick and figured it was Gunther because it was Randy, and really the most meaningless, pointless run-in ever. Like, he didn't do anything. He just ran in to kind of stand at ringside. It was kind of weird. But a lot of people have been telling me Gunther gets these piped-in crowd noises and stuff, and I've been kind of pushing back, and I always leave room for skepticism. But being there live, I'll tell you, Gunther got booed out of the fucking building, and I know it was real. I could see everybody booing him. He couldn't get a word out, and you literally couldn't hear him talk over the mic. Gunther is completely over as a heel, completely over. I don't know what people are talking about. I get it if you think he's boring. I don't necessarily think he's boring. I think he's like I get why people say he's boring, but I don't fully think he's that. I think he's pretty interesting. Young Chance PA just drops it. Shout outs to you, sir. Gunther is boring as fuck, he says. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I get it. I think he's that foreign kind of heel. Here's the thing: as a foreign foreign guy, he's not boring to me. I think he's pretty entertaining for a foreign heel. But listen, him and Kaiser have fucking nuclear heat. At least in South Florida, they do. But yeah, I almost didn't even want to cheer for them because I like them because they had such nuclear heat. Like I felt like somebody was gonna punch me in the face or something. But yeah, they're very much over. Here's another thing I'll tell you that I saw from going to SmackDown last time and being at Raw this time is that Randy Orton, I guess he had some kind of epiphany in life and he made some changes in his attitude and whatnot. But I actually believe it. I actually believe that Randy Orton has changed and it's not an act because he's now the guy that when the show is over, he stays and hangs out with the crowd for like 15 to 20 minutes after the show. He did that on SmackDown when I went. And he literally sat there and took pictures with everybody. He signed autographs. He had it's in the arena, so you couldn't talk to people. But I saw him leaning over and listening to people and stuff like that. Big smile on his face. Randy Orton fucking loves wrestling. And I totally believe this change that he made. I totally believe it's real. Just based on what I've seen of him, like during live shows. Like he just seems to really love what the fuck he's doing. And he really appreciates the crowd, I think. But yeah, it was the second time I saw him do that. It was like to the point where I'm like, is the show even over? Like I didn't even know when, because when you're at live shows, you don't get the TV cues necessarily. But yeah, I definitely believe that. I'd say the best. This is gonna sound weird coming from me because I know this is gonna sound like one of those indie fucking answers, but it also backs up something I said last week or the week before. The best match that I had the most fun watching was Pete Dunne versus Sheamus, and it does back up what I said, where I believe there's some matches that they put on TV that are for TV. They're for the show and they're for the the TV audience and the story. And then there's matches that we see on TV that are actually there for the live crowd. So those matches that there's some that are super fucking indie-rific and I still don't give a fuck about them as far as TV goes. But when you're there and you're watching it and you're seeing the live performance, it's and I didn't watch this match back on TV. Like I watched part of it, but I actually stopped watching at this point. But yeah, I mean I thought it played off pretty well on TV, but and then you can't say that there's not like story attached to it. They've tried to build some kind of story, but live watching it, Pete Dunne versus Sheamus was really fun to watch. It was I think it had the crowd. It was the match that had the crowd the most. Miz versus Bronson was pretty good too. I thought that was maybe the second best match of the night. Now, I'll be honest, it was my first Raw, too. I don't know if I mentioned that at the beginning of this. I've never been to Raw. I've been to SmackDown, been to pay-per-views, been to house shows, been to all of it, except for Raw. But yeah, it wasn't the best show I've ever been to, but it's fun to just go to a show. I just tell anybody, go to a show, even if it's not the greatest card or the greatest matches or anything. You're still going to have some kind of fun. The Wyatt family or the Wyatt Six, even better in person. And now I'm going to have some critiques on the Wyatt Six in a little bit, but or really Uncle Howdy, but the Wyatt Six, when they made their appearance, I actually thought I was being, kind of a smartass. They started with a women's match, and I'm like, all right, women's match. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, check out the merch stands on the way back, and then as I'm like, walking through the hall, I hear the fucking, and literally, it's the the sound effects for the Wyatt 6 lights going off, and literally you saw everybody in the. I wish I would have recorded this, but everybody in the halls, I guess they all had the same idea I did, ran to whatever fucking entrance of the arena they could find, and I did the same. So I have like footage of the Wyatt 6 from a weird angle, like behind the stage almost. But yeah, like people ran like as if there was a fucking mass shooter in the building, trying to go see the Wyatt 6. And I'll be honest, I did the same thing. That's why I didn't record the fools, because I was one of the fools. And then I got kicked out of the little spot that I ran into. But the Wyatt 6 fucking looks great in person. The lighting effects kind of annoy me on TV, but they weren't as bad in person. Because I guess they make it darker on TV, but in person you can they're illuminated by the crowd's cell phones, so you see pretty much everything. There's almost no darkness in arenas anymore, which kind of sucks, because I remember going to wrestling shows in the 90s, and when the Undertaker would come out, it would literally be pitch black. You couldn't see fucking the fan in front of you. But yeah, that doesn't happen anymore because everybody has cell phones, and it actually illuminates the entire arena. It's pretty, pretty amazing to see. I was at a Jay-Z concert, and he did the same thing, and it lit up the entire arena, and it was pretty cool. Women's wrestling, even worse in person. Can't say much more than that. The moves aren't impactful. It's a drag on the entire show. It's not fun to watch in person. It's not fun to watch on TV. Just sucks. Just fucking sucks. The tag match, they had a women's tag team title match. The Japanese broads and the white girls. And it almost killed the crowd. I saw people that were I saw it in their eyes. They were contemplating leaving the show early. It was probably, I wouldn't even call it a disappointment. I almost called it a disappointment. I already knew women's wrestling is sucks. You got to sit front row for any kind of thing, because I was damn near front row at SmackDown, thanks to my my good friend, partner in crime, Wonder, my tag team partner. But yeah, like, because then you get the chance of probably seeing some ass crack or a titty pop out or something like that. But yeah, it's horrendous. It's horrendous, and I'll get back to women's wrestling in a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Biggest disappointment was no Braun Breaker match. I guess they're I don't know why they're keeping him. They're not keeping him off TV, but they're keeping him out of the ring. They're doing the same thing they did with Gunther before his title match, but it's weird because Braun has a title. Doesn't have to be a fucking title match for him to wrestle on Raw. But yeah. Last thing I'll say, most over people. I was making a little list here. During that show, Randy Orton, of course. Fucking legendary status. Randy Orton's the goddamn man over there. The Terror Twins, actually super over. People jumped out of their seats when they jumped in the ring. Which I'll be honest, I don't understand, and I'll explain in a little bit. I've explained it before, but I'll kind of reiterate and add some new points to it. But the Terror Twins, super over, and Jey Uso had to be the most over motherfucker in that building. And I'll tell you why, because people were yeeting, and maybe it's just the yeet thing, but people were yeeting from the parking lot, walking all the way to the arena, yeeted all night. I didn't yeet one time, by the way. I'm proud of myself. I didn't stoop to that low. Yeeted all night, and then on the way back, walking back from the parking lot, yeeted all the way through. So, Yeah, it's the new Yes, because I remember when the Yes movement was over, people were doing that all the way, same thing. From the parking lot to the arena, all the way, the whole time in the arena, and then walking back from the arena to the parking lot. Yes, the whole entire time. Jesus Christ. That was Hell in the Cell. I went to Hell in the Cell. I got to count up how many wrestling shows I've been to. And I've been to some pretty, I don't want to say, I guess classics. I went to Armageddon 99 when it was here. I went to a Road to WrestleMania 15 house show. I saw Austin and Rock. Well, it was actually Austin and Foley teaming up to face Rock and somebody else, and I can't think of who. The Undertaker. Yeah, so that's pretty classic. Pretty classic. That might have been my first wrestling show. And what else? I went to a WCW Nitro back in the day. Saw Goldberg and Sting and the NWO and all of them. Haven't been to WrestleMania. I'm mad I missed Royal Rumble this year, or the last year when it was in Tampa. We were trying to go, but we couldn't make it. But yeah. All right. Let's see. WWE Raw. Last night. Was it last night? Yeah, today's Tuesday, right? Okay. Travis was wondering where you were at, bro. If you're talking to me, I don't know if you were talking to somebody in the chat. Doesn't look like it. Yeah. I went to Raw, so I wasn't planning on doing I was planning on doing the show, and then I got really tied down with work and literally nothing crazy. It's the most boring excuse you'll ever get. I was abducted by aliens. Let's make it fun. But yeah, I decided to just take the week off, and then I saw Thanks, Travis. And SmackDown. I was gonna review SmackDown, and then it was like, it just wasn't. It wasn't anything crazy. I feel like, did I take any notes on SmackDown? Yeah, I don't know. And I'll be honest, this episode of Raw, I'm just getting back into the thing of doing shows. So I took the week off. That's all I'll say. Leave it at that. Fuck. And I see some people mad at the Trump hat. All right, relax. We're here to talk wrestling. It's crazy. Go to my other channel, Misfit Nation. I'll talk politics over there. All right. And if you want to debate, I'm looking for debaters. But lefties don't debate for some reason. They seem to have a problem defending their ideas, or what there is of ideas. But shout outs to you, Brian. Shout outs to you. Let's see. Trump, by the way, WWE Hall of Famer. That's why I'm wearing this. Well, that's not why I'm wearing this, but that's why it makes sense on the show, on the wrestling show. All right, let's see. WWE Raw. By the way, I'm not giving you a fucking disclaimer for wearing the hat. If you don't like it, you could suck my dick. WWE Raw. August 26th. Episode. Listen, you know what? I'm actually going to do this early. Let me find it. I'm in the wrong thing here. And this isn't, I tapped out a little early on Raw this week. And it was kind of right after the first segment. So I ended up actually tapping out. I just couldn't get into Raw for some reason. And I'll be honest, it could be my fault. Could be that I'm just not feeling this thing that's going on or some of these storylines. But then I found some good shit. So I'm not going to be completely negative here. And I'll definitely concede that this tap out may be my fault. But I did make a observation in my own head that I feel like WWE, Triple H may be bad at booking go-home shows to pay-per-views, because I remembered SummerSlam's go-home shows weren't really that good either. Like, they didn't feel like go-home shows. And I get that feeling these days that they don't feel like, okay, we're gearing up for a pay-per-view, unless it's like, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. That might be it, WrestleMania season. And then they kind of like, go on autopilot a little bit. So I didn't feel like this was a go-home show. In a lot of different ways. But I'm also gonna start this with I'm trying to think of which one should I do. I'm sorry, I didn't freeze. You know what? I'm gonna do it on this one.
Get the hell out of my ring! Out! Get the hell out!
Get him the fuck out of here.
Yes, get him the fuck out of here. And it's going to be on this. You know what? This probably doesn't pertain. I should have done this as promo of the week. You know what? Let's back that up. Let's redo this. Because if I was going to do him, get him the fuck out of here, this would be a get him the fuck out of here on Rey Mysterio. And that might be fair. It might be time for him to hang up the old mask. Let it go. And I feel like he's probably going to do that very soon. So I'm not going to get him the fuck out of here on Rey Mysterio. I don't think that's fair. I have a little more respect for King Mysterio. So let me just do this as a promo of the week.
It's the promo of the week.
Burger after burger after burger.
All right. Sorry that was so disjointed, but this Judgment Day Rey Mysterio segment borderline pissed me off when I was watching it. Because it's like, they have the whole thing where, Dom is out there with Liv and his whole, his new crew and all that stuff. And Rey Mysterio comes out. He comes out and he starts cutting this promo on Dom. And it really just threw me off. Because it just, again, it came off as this stupid WWE writing or this Triple H gaslight booking that he likes to do, where it's like we're supposed to forget or we're supposed to forget what happened in the past, where Ray comes out and he's basically like kind of trying to say that, his son was better off being with Rhea. And where he's like going where he's like, at least when you were with Rhea, one of you had a set. And it's almost like he's pushing it to like where his son was better off with Rhea, which is ridiculous because it's like, is Rey Mysterio saying that he would rather his son be cucked to some broad? Like that made him happier? It's like, I don't understand why Rey in storyline, why can't he still harbor some kind of resentment towards Rhea in storyline? It's not like she's, I get it, she's a baby face now, but it's not like it's like magic baby face powder that she sprinkles all over everybody, and now she's a good guy. In storyline, she has to make some kind of amends to, Rey Mysterio at least, or apologize to him. She hasn't changed her character. Like, think about it. Rhea is basically the reason why Dom turned on his father and why he's treated him like shit for the past fucking, 2 years? Maybe longer? Again, in storyline, she's the reason and the influence of why Dom walked out on his Hall of Fame speech. She tore apart their fucking family. So now we're supposed to forget all that happened, and Rey Mysterio comes out, and it's like a plead trying to convince him that he's made a mistake leaving the fucking broad that tore his family apart. Again, dumb fuck booking. Triple H books for goldfish. And it works. And it works. Rhea's fucking over. She's the cunt in this storyline, and she's over. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And that's why I just don't feel the Terror Twins thing. Like, I'm not into it. Because I really see them as the heels in this. And, it's beyond a wrestling or storyline kind of thing for a TV show that it's just like, hey, you're being unreasonable, or you can't get past the suspension of disbelief. It's not suspension of disbelief. What we're talking about is like an ideological thing. It's like there's a certain way that men and women have interacted for fucking centuries. Since the dawn of time. And this whole like woman domination kind of fucking thing, it doesn't pan out in real life unless the dude lets her. Now I get it, Dom is a little, he kind of looks like a little weakling and stuff like that, but it's like this whole thing where now the father comes out, who's supposed to kind of bring in fatherly advice. What father looks at his son leaving the woman that tore his family apart? One. The woman that treated his son like garbage, cucked his son out on national TV. And then the father comes in to give the sage advice. What father doesn't see his son with the new fucking hot girlfriend who calls him daddy and doesn't go, all right, son, you know what, you came around, maybe we can salvage this? But he comes out and goes, no, son, at least you were better with Rhea because one of you had a set. Okay, I say. It's like, and it's a lame line. Stop it. Also, does the LWO just like plug in random Hispanics now? Like, are they trying to get one over on us? Because I don't feel like I knew those guys. I don't feel like they were in the LWO before. I feel like that group is it's like the immigration office. It's just like, hey, all right, he's here for now. He's here for now till he gets his papers. Then he's not LWO anymore. He's just WWE guy. Or they get injured. I guess there was some injuries, so hey, plug in some random luchadors. Yeah, so the end of this ends with Dom basically having 2 wins over his father now. Dos wins over his father. All right, let's see. I'm going to skip over some of this shit because really nothing to talk about. Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman. I guess I'll touch on that real quick. I like what they're doing with Bronson Reed. I've been really high on that. I've been really high. Now, this is the point where WWE sometimes gets lazy, is they'll book like 4 good weeks of somebody, and then they'll get over and they'll go, all right, we did our job. He's over. Now put him in regular ass matches. And it's kind of funny him going against Braun Strowman because Strowman had this same kind of thing where they had like him doing all this crazy shit all these like Superman level, Bane level strength kind of things, lifting up a tour bus and shit. And then just like he started having matches where he was like jobbing at points. It's like, what the fuck are they doing with him? But Bronson Reed now destroys that guy. Now I hope WWE keeps up with it. Hope WWE keeps running with it. The really cool spot of this, the end-all be-all spot of this one, was that he puts Braun Strowman on top of a car and then jumps from the there's like a little, cement kind of thing, roadway ramp thing, and he jumps off of it onto the top of the car. The windows explode out. Obviously rigged, but still, it was a cool little visual. Cool thing. I like when I'm a big fan of when they go out into the back and do the old school hardcore thing, wrestling outside and stuff like that. I think that's a cool callback to the Attitude Era. But yeah, then they're doing like these like cool, spots with special effects, I guess we'll call it. Just to, kind of sell more of this Bronson Reed as a monster. And I think it's great. I think it's, again, I said last week that this whole thing came from like totally left field, and I thought it was done very well. It's at the point where now when he gets, like, if he wins and then gets to the top rope, like, or even looks at the top rope, the crowd starts losing their mind because they think he's going to do the 5 tsunamis off the top. But yeah, they're getting Bronson Reed over. They're getting him over. And I don't think there was anything else with Bronson Reed. I feel like he cut a promo on somebody in the back. I want to say it was The Miz. Yeah, it was The Miz, because he said he's coming after The Miz after. Now, I do think that he is going to go after The Miz, and I'll actually tie in Miz's triple threat match, because I get the feeling that Miz is starting to try to like reinvent, and not a full-on reinvention, which I think would be kind of cool if Miz actually did like reinvent himself. And I always said that he'd be good with like a 4 horseman type stable. Because Miz is great on the promos. A lot of people sleep on the Miz when it comes to promos, but I always say it: angry, motivated, fucking Miz is a dangerous man on the mic, and he's eviscerated many people. Enzo Amore, one of the best men on the mic, he eviscerated him. Who's the other one I'm thinking? Daniel Bryan. Fucking eviscerated Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan, not always the greatest mic man, but he was completely over. But yeah, Miz could carry a stable, I think. Like a legit stable, though. Not some goofy comedy stable. Now, if you notice, I get the feeling that Miz is trying to sort of reinvent his wrestling kind of, what's the word? Prowess, I guess. Where he seems to be wrestling in a more serious way. Like he's taking himself a little more serious in the ring. Now, I believe they're doing that to sort of gear him up for Bronson Reed. And also, if you notice, they've been playing up Miz's past a lot more. His past as obviously for the Intercontinental Championship. That makes sense because he was going for the Intercontinental Championship. But I think they're also playing that up for when he goes against Bronson Reed. They want to give Bronson Reed like some stripes. So for him to take out sort of a veteran in the ring, and a more serious Miz going after Bronson Reed going after him, could be pretty good. And I thought they put on a good match. I think Miz has been doing having pretty good matches lately. Not amazing or anything, but I see him stepping up. Definitely stepping up his wrestling game. Let's see. He looked good in that triple threat match. Sorry, give me a second. Also, let me know what you're thinking. I see some viewers in the chat there, or some viewers. So drop your comments in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking or what you thought of Raw. Okay, well, we also had, and this will probably be the last thing. Oh, no, I got to touch on the Uncle Howdy. Got to talk about Uncle Howdy. Kofi New Day. Kofi Xavier, the split up. It seems to be impending. Now, I feel like WWE may have missed a little opportunity. I don't know what they have planned for the Kofi Xavier thing. They've been pretty much drawing this out for, I think, a little bit longer than they need to. But and that I could just feel like they've been drawing it out because I noticed the little subtleties a long time ago. So I felt it coming. But I felt like they could have had with the Intercontinental match. I thought it would have been interesting because when I was watching it, and they were setting up this thing where both Kofi and Xavier had a chance at being in the Fatal 4-Way with this Intercontinental Championship tournament. And I was like, yeah, that could be kind of interesting if they had both members of the New Day in the Fatal 4-Way. And I hate to do the fantasy booking thing here, but I just thought it could have been interesting. And then if they were to have it where, you know, maybe one of them cost each other the match, maybe Kofi cost Xavier the match in sort of a subtle way. Because they've been playing up the sort of subtleties and they've been slow burning the fallout, which I'm kind of cool with. Even though I said earlier it feels like it's been drawn out. But I mean the subtlety of now that we know that there's like this tension in the New Day. Now I'm kind of cool with like seeing the play out of it. But I felt like it would have been kind of it's like a missed opportunity that they could have had that happen in the Fatal 4-Way. And then, you know, we have some story to build on off of that, because I was getting the idea that's where they were going with it in the the night, during the night, because they had them cut a promo where they're like, we can both have an opportunity to win the championship and this and that. And I was like, all right, that'd be a cool little way to tell the story. But yeah, nothing there. It was all kind of like for nothing. But during that promo, they did show that, you know, the New Day friendship is getting a little rocky. It's showing too that Xavier is taking more of the blame, more fault for some of the things that went wrong with the New Day in the past few weeks. And Kofi's being again subtly being a little more arrogant, I think, about it than Xavier. Xavier's being a little more humble and like kind of taking his responsibility. I didn't really see Kofi doing that, so I think they're playing that up purposely. But yeah, I thought Xavier had some more good acting in there, and you know, good story building. But then it kind of didn't matter because they both lost their match. So the story that they built for that night was a little inconsequential. There was no real point to it other than like dick teasing us. Or even maybe one of them winning and getting in. And there being some like jealousy or something, like something to build in there. Yeah, so that happened. Still more stalling on the New Day. And I wouldn't have called it stalling if there was some kind of like, all right, that's going to get us to the next week. Now they're in the Fatal 4-Way. That would have made more sense. Or one of them isn't in the Fatal 4-Way. Or what if like Odyssey Jones came out and helped, like fucked up helping Xavier, but helped Kofi and was successful. So then you have that where, well, he helped you and it worked out, but I don't know. Was he trying to cost me the match? At least you sow those seeds, but I don't know. We'll see. I'll give him a bye this week. Psycho Sid dead. He's dead. Sid Vicious. Rest in peace to Sid Vicious. Played a little video package for him. They're on Raw. I didn't really do any research on Sid Vicious's death, but I'm actually going to do more of a tribute on Friday on our main show on the Misfit Nation. So go over there and subscribe. Sometimes we do a little wrestling stuff on Misfit Nation. We have a non-wrestling fan on the show, so sometimes we show him some wrestling stuff to get his reaction. And I thought maybe I'd show him some Sid Vicious. I sound like him now. Sid Vicious promos this week on the Misfit Nation podcast. So go over there and follow, and you'll see that. Maybe I'll upload it over here. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Well, we had... Excuse me. Had the hiccups there. Okay, let's see. Uncle Howdy versus Chad Gable. The in-ring debut of Uncle Howdy. I believe this is the first time. Well, obviously that's what a fucking in-ring debut is. First time we've ever seen Uncle Howdy wrestle a match. Now I'll give you... I guess I'll give you my positives first because I think I have a couple. Well, you know, my negatives are more in how he looks because we've never seen him completely illuminated and seen the whole thing. Like every time I've seen him, he's been basically either, you know, the closest we saw was when he was sitting ringside for the Wyatt 6 debut. But he was still kind of donned in all the, you know, the stuff. We saw him in his wrestling gear. And I'll be honest, I kind of hate the Uncle Howdy wrestling gear. The mask, the wig, the outfit, the whole thing. It looks like, you know, one of those cheap Halloween costumes you'd get at Party City. It's like a crazy masked homeless guy costume. Okay. Yeah, I think it all, like the mask. I don't know why. I'm not feeling the Uncle Howdy mask. I think it looks goofy. I don't know what it's supposed to do. Is it supposed to be scary? It's supposed to be spooky? It looks silly to me. Yeah, and the wig is ridiculously, like, I thought those were dreads. I remembered him having dreads when he re-debuted, but I guess that wasn't. I don't know. I guess they couldn't have him wrestle in the dreads. I don't know. But the mask looked ridiculous. The outfit, it looked like, you know, the shirt looked like leftover, you know, fucking Undertaker 90s apparel. It just didn't look. It looked weird, and nothing matched. Guess that's the point, but nothing, not even like in a way of like unmatching or mismatching in a fashionable way. It like just looked like they just threw it together. Like they were like, just give me pieces of other people's outfits. Yeah, the Uncle Howdy look just kind of it didn't click with me. Everybody else I thought looks great. I thought every other member looked good. But yeah, Uncle Howdy is just, and as the leader, I think he should have a better look. I'll be honest. And then the other thing I'll say is I don't know if Bo is like physically imposing enough to kind of pull off this kind of character. He's not as big as his brother, as Bray was. However, he does, and this will all get into the positives. I think he does wrestle a better style than Bray did. That whole because he's wrestling Bray's style more or less. He's throwing in a couple of his own things, but it's basically Bray Wyatt's style. It's a complete tribute to Bray Wyatt, and I think he wrestles it almost a little bit better than Bray. Athletically, Bray had more impact. And I think that's because he was way more physically imposing than Bo is. But I thought the match was all right for what it was, for the character kind of storyline match. It was entertaining. I'll give it that. I couldn't. The outfit was bothering me the whole time. I don't know. I was being a bitch. I was being a fag, to be honest. I'm like, ugh, look at his shoes. Yeah, but I thought he wrestled the match pretty good. I think Chad Gable's I think Chad Gable is one of the more entertaining things on the show. I think I don't want to say he's been carrying he's been a nice compliment to the Wyatt Six storyline. And the American Made thing, I'm getting into that. I think I'm liking the whole mix. I think it's good. It's working, but they need to soup up Uncle Howdy's look. Soup it up a little bit. That would have been great, maybe in the 90s. It would have been amazing. All right. Well, that was pretty much WWE Raw. Oh yeah, Uncle Howdy got the win. There was a big schmaz at the end of the match. The Wyatt Six came bum rushing in. I don't think there was a Nikki Cross appearance. Is she overseas or something? I don't think I saw a Nikki Cross appearance. I'm pretty sure I watched it all the way through. Maybe I might have missed the little ending or something, but yeah, because the broad is in there wrestling. What's her name? Ivy Nile, I think. I think that's her. But she's jumping on fucking Rowan's back and stuff like that, so she's getting in the mix. So they have a female for her to wrestle. So that'll be a nice, like, a big they should have like some kind of big match where everybody's in it. I think that'll be cool. If you notice, they've been breaking it up first. But the big war, the big final bout, I think it'll be pretty cool. Now, I might be wrong. I may have to admit that I was wrong, because it looks like they have kind of split from the whole Alpha Academy thing. Seems like that may be actually over. However, I'm going to stick by this. I'm going to be hard-headed on this one. I think that it's still going to tie into Chad Gable kind of doing the right thing, the honorable thing, and apologizing to his family, his former friends, and that kind of being where that whole thing goes. It goes to Chad Gable actually being a decent person, stop being a piece of shit, you know? All right. That was WWE Monday Night Raw. I'm going to talk about something else here because there was a clip that I saw. But let me know what you thought of Raw. Again, couldn't get through it, but my negativity on this one, I will admit, it could be my fault. But let me know what you thought. Maybe if you agreed or disagreed. Maybe that's why I was so fixated on fucking Uncle Howdy's outfit, because I was already like negative on most of the show. So I was picking at it. But yeah. I'll leave it at that. Did want to talk about this. Now. Give me a second. Let me pull up the clip. By the way, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Get those likes up. Get those comments up. Help get us in the algorithm. Help us take over the wrestling world. Help us rule the wrestling world. At least the podcast world. There's too many bitches. Too many bitches in the podcast, wrestling podcast world. And I think they're dictating the wrestling shows these days. And I talk about it all the time. Women's wrestling. It's affirmative action wrestling at this point. It's a waste of time. It's not interesting. It's not even good on the level of what the fucking smart marks like, where it's like, oh my God, the athletic prowess. He put on a 5-star classic. Like that kind of thing. It's like, I can't even appreciate it for that. I challenged people on my last stream. Give me a woman's promo that ever meant anything. That ever resonated. That can go on a top 10 list and you'd feel comfortable about it. Not in a political way. Not in an affirmative action DEI way. I'm talking in a way of like, wow, that wrestling can't live without that promo. Give me a woman that's dropped a pipe bomb promo in the history of wrestling. Nobody's ever done it. Nobody's ever given it to me. Now, this leads me to this clip of one Jade Cargill. She has some things to say about women's wrestling. And I'm just going to say this. The entitlement on this fucking broad is insane. Well, listen to this.
It's a big deal. You know, one of our goals is to consistently have this belt on PLE events. So we want the fans to demand it because we're out here having these phenomenal matches. We have Bianca, we have myself, and, you know, again, we're so used to being solo artists and being able to work with her and to bring it together and have these matches. They should be demanding to want to see that.
They should be demanding to want to see that. My question as an interviewer, the follow-up would have been, why should they, and this isn't even like a confrontational question. Why should they be demanding? Give us some reasons. Rattle off a few. All these great matches, all these phenomenal matches, she says. Name 5. Name 3. Name 2. Name 1. What the fuck is she talking about? If women's wrestling was really that good, she wouldn't have to go on interviews to beg people to watch it. The reason people aren't demanding for more of it is because they demanded for more of it 5 years ago. They got more of it and realized what a fucking bore fest it was. The women's revolution. Why haven't they had another fucking women's evolution pay-per-view? Because it sucked and people tuned out. It didn't even draw. It didn't draw enough even to be fucking affirmative action level. It's like we can't even afford to do this. We're going to take a hit. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. If I were to ask, well, like name a few, you can't name a few great matches. She'll probably go, oh, well, that's because we haven't had the time because we're being held down. Held down on what? They're on every fucking show. and consistently having it on PLEs. They don't consistently have anything on PLEs anymore. When's the last time we had like consistent, I guess, intercontinental matches? Tag team. Let's get the tag team division popping first before we fucking have this this supplemented income bullshit. This subsidized programming. This PBS wrestling. Let's get the government. Let's make it a government write-off at this point. But saying they're having phenomenal matches as if they're just being held back and they're not getting the opportunity and they're on TV every goddamn week. Again, name me like anything good they've done. Now, are we under the impression that any of these women are actually like humble enough or care enough about their craft that they're like they have a match and just like, you know, some fucking random curtain jerker or jobber dude who you know, Braun Breaker spears the fuck out of, he probably goes back and watches the match and sees how he may have been able to take the spear better or do something, and they become great. Are we under the impression that there's any women that are doing that are replaying their matches after they're over and honestly critiquing them, which is the really important part? Or do they wrestle a match and then think this is what they do? They wrestle a match, they go to the back and they go, "We killed it. We killed it." Every time, I guarantee you, because that's how women operate. Because they can't honestly critique themselves. It's impossible. Maybe some you could find. Maybe some you could find better than others. But there's dudes that go out there, and this is why women, it's like the whole lie of that women can do anything that men can do. And look, maybe partially there's a level of truth to that. Here's what's not true. Women can't do anything better than men. Women can do it, not better. And that's what I'm saying. There's guys out there that do that critique themselves. Like, for instance, Sami Zayn, I think I've heard him even say that, like, a lot of these guys will say that they think they fucking suck. They'll watch back a match. Sometimes they don't even like watching their own matches because they pick it apart too much. And that's what I think women miss. And partially, this is where men, we take fault. We enable and we create this fucking entitlement that they should be wanting to see us. Why? Just because you're doing it? Just because it's happening, I should want to see it? No, I got other shit to do. I literally fast forward through your stuff. Jade. And I gave her a chance. Fast forward every time. Because I'm tired of hearing ratchet ghetto babble from this Amazon woman. It's like, I don't need it. You're not doing anything special or anything entertaining or anything that people are going to demand to see naturally, organically. Step up your fucking game. Don't beg us. This is, again, though, just like, really, they're coming from the generations of women that were told their entire life, one, that they can do anything that a man can do. They were lied to. They were all lied to. They bought into the lie. And a lot of them that are around my age are starting to realize the fucking lie. But now they're a little too jaded and fucking miserable and angry for anybody to want to marry. So, you younger girls out there, take note. That's going to be you pretty soon. They fell for that. They fell for the entitlement, or the women can do anything a man can do, which was, basically created by the feminist movement. And it created this entitlement. And it's bitch ass dudes who sit there and will hear this message from Jade Cargill and go, you know what? I'm going to demand it. I'm going to demand it because maybe Jade Cargill will retweet me. Fucking. There's no one clamoring for women's wrestling except for maybe other women, because mostly women like men's wrestling. Let's be honest. Just like most women that are basketball fans like the NBA, they don't watch the WNBA, they watch the NBA. Which maybe the NBA could take note from WWE and just have the WNBA played like during their halftime or something. Just have like a quick 10-minute game. That's the equivalent to what WWE's doing, because they won't ever have them to have their own show, because it'll be WNBA. Nobody will watch it. So nobody's clamoring for women's wrestling except for maybe some women and a bunch of fucking incels who think that or think they actually have some kind of connection to these fucking women. Like, you saw the guy who was stalking fucking what's the lesbian broad's name? DeVille. He's stalking DeVille, and he's like, I just felt like I had a connection to her. I'm such a fan. It's like that's the women's wrestling fans. Why do you think most women's women's wrestlers don't like going to meet and greets and don't like going to fucking Comic-Con and all that shit? Because it's like a bunch of fucking creeps drooling over them that aren't real men. That's why. If there were real men there that were drooling over them, they would love that shit. It's a bunch of fat incels that don't know how to speak to women that are their fans. And it's crazy because, like, women's wrestling would actually be a little more entertaining if they did, like, sexualize it a little bit and at least play up to the incels. Give them something to jerk off to. Jesus Christ. Have some of these women, like, look at Liv Morgan. She's like one of the top female wrestlers. And I don't even know what she looks like when she wrestles. I love Liv Morgan. I don't even know what her finisher move is called. It's because she plays up her sexuality. And it's like these women, they can't be sexual. Like, they're fucking beautiful. Like, more than half of I would say maybe about half of the WWE women's roster are like bona fide fucking 10s. Legitimately. But they come out and they're not, like, they look sexy, but they're not sexual. Half of them they just don't play up their sexuality. And it's like, do that. Connect. Oh, but that's sexist. You're always saying a woman can only connect to her fans if it's about sex? Yeah, sex sells. Oh, I'm the sexist. But yeah, that's why, basically every single woman's wrestler wrestles in thongs and whore boots. Yeah, that's by accident. Oh yeah, that's just because that's fucking regulation wrestling gear. Sure thing. And fishnet stockings. And fake eyelashes. Fucking cum-catching eyelashes. Yeah, exactly. Painted lips and fucking blush. Yeah, I'm the sexist. Go fuck yourself. Women like to be sexualized. They love it. They love to be objects. And I think we're making them fight their nature by trying to make them like fucking athletic performers. And Jade Cargill called herself an artist. You're not an artist. An artist creates things. You don't create. All right. Enough of that. Okay. Well, I'm going to get out of here. Shout outs to everybody there watching along. Shout outs to everybody in the chat. Peter Ortiz, my good friend Peter Ortiz in the chat there. Travis, shout outs to you. Brian Herschmuck. Shout outs to you. Parker Curry, hello. Parker Curry says, I am mad and angry that Bray Wyatt died in 2023. Yeah, I think everybody was. I mean, you know, it's one of those things. Life throws you a curveball and you make a Wyatt 6. Yeah, I you know, obviously it's for, I guess the word, I don't know if the word would be materialistic reasons or superficial reasons of why we're mad and angry. You know, I got to make it real, right? You know, he's got his family. His family's, you know, obviously feeling that way more than us. But for superficial reasons as a wrestling fan, yeah, because I wanted to see how that all was going to play out. But, you know, sometimes you don't get to see that. And Young Chance PA, shout outs to you, saying that Gunther is boring. He's saying his mic work is boring. His wrestling is top notch. Okay, I got you. I can't even argue with that. That's why I always said Kaiser should be his fucking manager. I honestly don't even care for Kaiser matches. I just rather hear him talk. So we're in agreement, actually. I totally see where you're coming from. All right, guys. Well, I am out of here. I do appreciate you. Go ahead, like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to my other channel, Misfit Nation, at Misfit Nation on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, all those social media platforms. We talk about other stuff, everything else but wrestling. Sometimes we do touch on wrestling, like I said earlier. If you want to support, go ahead and buy us a coffee at Buy Me a Coffee at Misfit Nation. Shout outs to Skrill Revive for buying us, I think, 15 coffees or something like that. So shout outs to him. That was earlier this week. I didn't get to shout him out on this channel. So shout outs to Skrill Revive. I'll have to go check and see if anybody else dropped us or bought us a coffee. Keep with the vernacular there. And if you're looking for some Misfit Nation gear or some Kayfabe Kartel gear, shirts, merchandise, go over to shopmisfitnation.com. It's a Misfit Nation shirt here. Nice shot of it. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm actually going to be doing a show with Wonder pretty soon on the Kayfabe. He was supposed to come on this one, but we couldn't line up our schedules. Partially my fault because work got crazy. So we will be doing, or Wonder will be coming back to I don't know if it's going to be a full comeback, but he's going to be coming back for an episode pretty soon. Let us know what he's been up to. And how he's been digesting the wrestling content that we've been seeing. All right, guys, I am out of here. Thanks again. Follow me on X, by the way, at Krishan the Don. It's right there. At Krishan the Don. I am out. Fuck off.